Hey mamas, it's Mama Fox. It is 11 a.m. Central on Wednesday, March 26th. If you see my eyes going that way, that's me thinking, what time is it and what is the date? Think I got it right, maybe. I'm so glad you're here today. I'm going to do a couple of announcements first, and then we're going to dive into a topic that I have been thinking about for 2 years. Yeah, that's right. You probably thought I'd only been thinking about it a few months or a year. No, I've been thinking about this topic for 2 years. Okay? Because it really is on my heart. It is so on my heart all the time. And that is all about, honestly, really what the bulk of it is about chasing that magical unicorn that is like, this product is going to solve all my problems or whatever. That's really the heart of it. But what I'm going to share today in just a few minutes, while y'all come on in, and if y'all will comment, I hope I've been able to see everybody's comments today so far. This is my third live today, and I'm hoping I can see yours. I'm going to share with you my personal journey of why I gave up and stopped using a lot of extras. And then what happened? I am not telling you to do the same. I'm just sharing with you in full disclosure what I stopped. Hey, Becky, I can see you. And Angela, yay. Good morning, and Dina. I'm so glad y'all are here. It makes me so happy when I can see your comments. And Michelle, I want to be honest with you. And I want to share with you, and Becky, good morning, why I gave up some things and how long and what and all the things and then what happened. And quite frankly, I'm going to share with you some things I brought back in. Okay. So it's not that I'm against you using, I am not against you using things that are helpful to you. Okay. I'm not. But that's the thing. That's the thing I had to examine. Are these things helping me? If so, in what way? If not, why not? Or are these things helping me? Because I can't tell. I can't tell a bit of difference. Why not? So that's what we're going to talk about. But I would be remiss if I don't mention, I have to mention, good morning, ladies. I have to mention the workshop. I have not done a workshop in almost a year. Hey, Dawn. Oh, hey, Dawn. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. So, I haven't done a workshop in almost a year, and they bring me so much joy to do a workshop. And I'm going to tell you one reason why is because, it's going to fit in your budget. I promise you, it's going to fit in your budget. And that's one reason why I love doing them, is that they are, very economical. And they are kind of fast and furious. It's a 1 week workshop. You will have an extra bonus week to catch up. So don't fret too much if you're busy the week of the workshop and whatever. My workshops, my coaching groups, everything I do, including these lives here, they're all things that you can watch on your own schedule, your own time frame, your own calendar. You really can. And that's important because, like Sophie, I got mamas all over the place. Okay. I've got mamas from all over the world. And so the things I do, I try to make sure that it works, for everybody. It really will. So the workshop is a live workshop. I will go live, every day that week. I'm going to do something different this time. And it may be dumb. It may not be a good idea, but we're going to see. I am going to go live at slightly different times. I'll have a schedule. I will put it out. And I will go live at different times that week so that hopefully different mamas can catch the live. That may not work. I don't know. But I thought, you know what? Why not? Let's give it a try. Also, quite frankly, I still have to drive Henry to stuff. He did get his license, he got his license and he's ready to drive, but the car needs to have insurance and a car tag, and that ain't happening just yet. So there's lots of reasons, but I will go live every day. You'll be able to catch it later that day, the next day, the following week, okay? But in this workshop, the other thing we're going to do that's a little different from a year ago or other workshops I've done is truly, if you want just the workshop, we have a very low price for just the workshop, and you'll have 2 weeks to get all that consumed. Or for just a few more dollars, you can also get the replays, and you'll have lifetime access to the replays, okay? So if you can't come to the live workshop event, but you really want those replays, grab that option, and by about mid-April or so, we'll have those replays up, and you'll be able to go through all of it, and you'll get all the resources. Any handouts will also come with the replays, okay? Any of that. So the workshop I'm doing, it is a companion of sorts to the food piece course and workshop I did a year ago. You don't have to have the food piece course. You don't have to have done it. No, but it is going to be, this is the way I described it. It's like salt and pepper. They're going to go together really well. They're going to complement each other really well. And one of you mamas asked on the post, so what's the difference? Well, in the food piece course and workshop, that was me a year ago, almost a year ago, 10 months ago, saying, mamas, build your meals this way. Start your day this way with this kind of a breakfast, and your whole world is going to change. And it did. It does. That was me saying, do this. Build your breakfast this way. Do these tricks and tips and things like that, and practical tools with a little bit of the why behind it, for sure. Now, let's go forward a year, 10 months. I've learned a lot. I've learned so much in this past year, digging in, getting my insulin IQ certification, consuming, honestly, a lot of information and mulling it over and testing it out and trying it out and continuing my own victories. And so this workshop course, this is going to be all about the hormones involved in our hunger and satiety, and why it's so important to take our eyeballs off of the sex hormones just a little bit. The sex hormones, of course, they're important. Of course they are. But the master hormones, insulin and cortisol, those are the puppet masters, which makes them sound evil. They're not evil, but they are the master hormones, cortisol and insulin. And if we don't honor those, then we're not really honoring our hormones, no matter what. But the insulin and cortisol, what the interplay there is with our hunger and satiety hormones is phenomenal. It's a beautiful orchestra. It really is. Or it can sound like a really bad, like grungy garage band. Okay. We want the orchestra. We want the harmony. We really don't want the grungy garage band. That's never going to go anywhere. Okay. So this course is all about digging into why food peace meal building works, what's going on there, what's actually happening, why there are some other tools that you're going to want to focus on and implement past just building a food peace breakfast. Building a food peace meal breakfast is a fantastic start, and it will really rock your world. It will show you that, oh my goodness, when something changes, it will. But that's not all of it. That's not all of it. There's more to it. And so I am so excited about what we're going to be talking about. Some of these things I share in the Foxy Foundation's coaching group. And as I was talking about insulin in that group, and as I was talking about cortisol in that group, and as I was talking about the hunger and satiety hormones in the Foxy Foundation's group, that is really where I began to realize more mamas need to know about this, because it will change everything. It will make such a difference. Because honestly, using a tool and seeing some positive impacts from that tool, that can be very helpful. Absolutely. But a lot of times that only gets you so far. And once you understand why things are changing and working and what else you can do to support that, and the healing that's going on, that is going to take you so much farther when you understand, oh, So when I do this, this is really happening. And if I keep doing this, more of that's going to happen and it's going to get better and better and better. Okay. So that's the workshop. Enrollment is open. Enrollment will be open until the middle of the workshop. I'm going to leave it open until April the 10th. The workshop actually starts on April the 7th. Again, you don't have to be there, but there is going to be some interaction. There's going to be some homework. It's going to be fun homework. It's going to be good homework. I will be giving away seats to my Foxy Foundation coaching group this summer during the workshop. So that's going to be super cool. But enrollment does close April 10th. Yes. And it starts April 7th. Okay, let's move on. I cannot wait to share this with you. Like I said, I have been sitting on this topic for 2 years. And obviously, it was a topic that I didn't really want to talk about before last July for reasons. But it's something that has really, really bothered me for a very long time. And that is the overuse. I wouldn't say use, but the overuse of special ingredients and special powders that you can't buy at Piggly Wiggly or Aldi. Honestly, you can be healthy and you can make amazing strides in your health and your journey and your aging well and your vibrant living if you shop at Aldi. And if you only shop at Aldi or Piggly Wiggly or whatever your little local grocery store is called, you don't need all those extras. Okay, now that is the one thing I want to tell you first of all. And I've kind of always said that, but I myself was like, but I'm going to use a few myself. I'm going to use some. And I did for a very long time. And what happened was there was a group of special ingredients that I simply could not use because of my own, gut health issues and things like that. Even once I healed my gut and made great strides with my serotonin levels and my anxiety and my panic attacks and all that, my gut's working great and all the things. Even then, there were some specialty products and powders that I personally couldn't use, and I didn't really care, but it was, it was a little annoying sometimes. It was like, why can't I use that stuff? I wonder why I can't. Some people can, other people can't. And it was kind of always this weird thing. Now I realize that actually it's no surprise my body didn't like those highly processed, specialized, it's not really food. It's not actual food ingredients. Now it makes sense. My body was like, what are you doing, girl? We don't want that stuff. Pass the chicken. So that kind of made sense. But there was a group of things, and those things that I've never been able to utilize, although I tried, those things were oat fiber, psyllium husk, which is the same thing as Metamucil, by the way, just so you know. Glucose, xanthan gum, any kind of greens powder, like whatever those are called, the greens, EAAs, and beef collagen. Now, the oat fiber, psyllium husk, glucose, and xanthan gum, and the greens powder, they would just cause like bloating, severe bloating, gastric, my hurt, pain, all the things. Not worth it. Not worth it. And that makes sense because those things are just stripped fiber. I meant to look it up and I forgot. But there's soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. And in the book Metabolical by Robert Lustig, that's a great book. Husbands would probably like that book if you want to get them tuned into stuff. It's a more sciencey history, like history of food and the food industry and those kinds of things. He talks about specifically psyllium husk, and he points out that's Metamucil. And he talks about how that is, and forgive me for not looking it up, I believe that would be insoluble fiber, I think. But in nature, in whole foods, soluble fiber and insoluble fiber come together. They go together. Your body is expecting it to be together. Your body is wanting it to be together, and it processes it beautifully when they're together, when they're not stripped away, when it's not a non-food exactly. And when I read that, I was like, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense when we start stripping food down to things that aren't the way it shows up in nature. No wonder our body might not like it or might not process it well. It's not my body that's messed up. It's that product that's not really giving my body everything it needs to use it. Not really. That made me feel a lot better. On the EAAs, essential amino acids, I've tried 2 different brands, and they both make me feel bad. They make me feel yucky, like bleh. And they made me not have, it did not give me energy. It made me feel nah, didn't like it. Believe me, I tried it. 2 different brands, not for me. If it works for you, I'm not telling you not to use it, but it didn't work for me, and I did give it a good try, but it didn't work for me, and I'm okay with that because I'm okay with eating whole foods that I can buy at my grocery store that are meeting my needs in lots of different ways. So I did try that for a while. Beef collagen, boy, tried that. Tried 2 different brands, and you want to talk about making my joint pain and arthritis go sky high. Yipes. And that's why I switched to chicken bone broth collagen. I don't even know, probably 7 years ago. Because if you have inflammation, if you have arthritis pain like that, or if you have arthritis or RA or whatever, chicken bone broth collagen is usually a much better fit. Now, that is also a special powder. Okay, so I'm not telling you that you can't use special powders and special products. I'm sharing with you my journey. So that first group that I just mentioned, those are things that I tried, couldn't use, so they're not a part of my journey really at all. I can't use them, okay? Now, the next things I want to tell you about are the things that I used faithfully, like regularly, almost daily for years, okay? These would be things like protein powder, for sure, of different kinds, all different types and kinds over the years. Protein powder, even sometimes protein bars when they were available or whatever. Sunflower lecithin, baobab, different brands too on those. Those were things I used often. And I also used a few things that were kind of like blends of things, like baking blend to make things, and this thing called Mighty Maca drink mix by Dr. Anna Cabeca. Yes, here we go. Great book. Dr. Anna Cabeca, The Hormone Fix. She has a Mighty Maca drink mix, and I actually started using that drink mix because I couldn't use greens powder. I tried a couple of different brands, and I just couldn't do it. And I could do the Mighty Maca drink mix, so I did that for like several years, and things like that. And here's what I want to tell you with the things, and baobab, I never had a problem with it. I started small and worked up. I didn't mind it, but I couldn't tell it made any difference for me personally at all. But, maybe I couldn't tell. Sunflower lecithin, I did it. I had it every day in some form or fashion for the brain health. I couldn't tell it ever helped or did anything. In fact, my brain fog was pretty rough a few years ago, to be honest. Nowadays, my clarity of thought and my brain fog is a thing of the past now. And there's a few reasons for that. But my brain fog, gone. My creative thinking ability and things like that, up. I just couldn't tell it helped. The Mighty Maca drink mix, I couldn't tell it did anything. I don't know, maybe it did. I couldn't tell it did anything. And so those kinds of things like that, I just got to this point where last summer, as I was making, hey Amanda, where I was making lots of changes and things, I was like, okay, I'm going to strip away all these extras. My LMNT drink mix, my Four Sigmatic coffee, which I love. I mean, I do love it. I love my Four Sigmatic mushroom coffee. But I just decided, I'm like, I'm going to strip away all these things because I can't tell if anything is actually doing anything. Like, I was using too many different things to me, and some people using way more than I was using. But, you know, the baobab, the sunflower lecithin, the protein powders, the element, the mushroom coffee, the mighty maca, all these things. I'm like, I can't tell that any of these are actually helping me. And certainly, I've told y'all about last January when I turned 50, I was like, I'm done. I got to change some stuff. Things are not going the way I want them to go. They're going the opposite direction. I'm stuffing into my shapewear every time I turn around like a sausage, and I'm gaining weight, and my clothes don't fit, and my brain fog wasn't great. Actually my brain fog was great. That was the problem. I couldn't think very clearly, and just I didn't have the energy I wanted. These things were happening, and I'm like, I'm using all this stuff, but I can't tell anything's working. And it's certainly, not that I'm all about internal healing. I'm all about non-scale victories. You better believe it. But also wanted to lose a few pounds. Also don't want to be gaining weight, which is what was happening. Also would like to feel comfortable in the clothes hanging in my closet. Not looking to buy new clothes, just need those ones to fit, right? And I'm like, okay, none of this stuff is helping me with that. Not to say that those things are even supposed to. I'm not saying they are. I am not saying that sunflower lecithin was supposed to help me lose 5 pounds. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that I was spending time and money and energy on incorporating all these special things into my blender every time I turned around, making a hot mess in my kitchen with all these powders and potions going on and all these jars of things and taking up a whole cabinet. And I couldn't tell that it was actually helping me in any particular way. And so this is kind of like where people do something like they'll do a detox or they'll do Whole30. And it's not a bad idea. It's kind of good to say, you know what, I'm just going to stop all that stuff. Now, I'm not talking about medication. Y'all know that. But it's kind of good to say, I'm going to stop all this stuff. I'm going to stop using it. And I'm going to give myself, I'd say 2 or 3 months, because it takes a while to detox, okay? I was like, and that's what I said. I'm going to give myself 3 months, and I'm not going to use these things at all. Now, let me tell you what. When I did that last summer, and I was just really getting good and into the food piece meal building and open my dense, chewable protein, yes, it was a little hard at first to not rely upon my blender and a protein shake. It kind of was. It was kind of hard at first because it was such a habit and it seemed like such a help. Nope. But it seemed like such a help to me for my day. I could drink it on the go, and I could drink it when I was doing something else. And as you know, I was suggesting at the time that, well, don't have it for breakfast, but if you really want a protein shake, lunch might be a good time. And that is how I tippy-toed into it, for sure. But honestly, what I found after a while of letting those special things go, and just seeing, okay, wow, am I about to have a health crisis because I took out all these special things or something? No, in fact, what I found is my hunger and satiety hormones started coming back online better and better. Totally better and better. And let me tell you, I've said this before, I had used protein shakes 30 years ago. Literally. So it's not like it was something that I hadn't done before. I've been using those for a long time, but what I found was as I disengaged from the special ingredients, I realized, okay, those things aren't helping me as much as I thought they were, especially when it comes to like the protein shakes and stuff. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I I still have egg white protein powder in my cabinet for my husband. And I still have, I think it's Isopure brand, but don't quote me on that. I still have a whey protein powder in my cabinet for my husband. And I do make him a protein shake a few times a week to take with him to work in the morning. And it has all kind of, I usually put avocado oil in it. Sometimes I'll put some nut butter in it. Obviously stevia, things like that. So I'm not telling you not to use it, but what I'm telling you is really examine if it's truly helping you. It works well for my husband, okay? But his health goals are not the same as mine, believe me. He has made some great changes and some great strides in his health and his belly gut, but, his health goals are not mine. Let's just put it that way. But I'll tell you what I did. A few days ago, it was kind of busy and chaotic around here. And honestly, my day and my timing was getting a little wonky. And so I know now that if I drink a protein shake, it's not going to last me 5 and 6 hours. It's not. And that day I was like, well, I'm okay with that. I'm going to make a very simple protein shake. And I know it's not going to last me 5 or 6 hours, but today that's going to work out because of XYZ, blah, blah, blah. Had not had one in a couple of months, okay? So again, I took these things out last summer and haven't used some of them ever again. But the protein powder, it sits in the cabinet. I was like, okay, I'm going to try one. I was like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. Like, this is not fun. I made a chocolate protein shake and I was like, I took a few sips and I'm like, oh my goodness, my palate has become so used to eating real whole food that this is gross. And I'm sorry to say that, and I know we shouldn't, but I mean, I did it for years, and I did it for decades, really. But I was like, I'm not going to be able to utilize this today, which is terrible. But I was at home and I could make something else. So I scrambled some eggs just really fast. But I was like, this is not amazing to me. And that is just where my palate has gotten cleansed and gotten used to chewing and eating real food. You know what, Candy? I don't worry about that because, again, that is a fiber. And if I need vitamin C, I'm going to get it from Whole Foods, from vegetables and berries and all kinds of things like that. And I'm going to tell you about that in just a second too. With fiber, oh my goodness, I have avocado. Avocado is one of the highest Whole Foods forms of fiber. It's a great source of fiber. Avocado, raspberries, great form of whole food fiber. Lots of other ways to do it. And what I found was like last summer when I decided to take this break, and that's what I would challenge you to do. I would say, just for your own benefit, take a break, literally hey, Miss Laura, take a break for like a few months of some of the special foods that you can't buy at the Piggly Wiggly, okay? Take a break, and then when you decide to add them back in, my main goal wasn't to stop using them. I want you to know this. My main goal was not to stop using those special ingredients, not at all, and those special powders. That wasn't my goal. My goal was to see, is this even helping me? Can I tell a difference when I don't use it versus when I do? Because I had just been piling stuff on and I didn't know if these things were helping or if I was just throwing the dollars out. I couldn't tell, Oh, I know Sophie. See, Sophie is from France and she knows what good food is. And she has always been like, protein shakes are, and I know. And I want to chew my food now too. I always have, really. But, and I never could do chunky, icy protein shakes because of my arthritis. Not a happy place. I can't do the ice thing. But that wasn't my goal to stop using it. My goal was just to see, am I getting my money's worth with these things? Are these things helping me? And if they were, bring it on. Bring it back in. Absolutely. Or if it was something that either it was helping me or it wasn't holding me back. and I enjoyed it. Okay, that's a big deal. Do I enjoy it? Is it not holding me back? Is it helping me reach my goals? Is it bringing enrichment and joy and health to my life in a way I can tell or not? And so that's why I stopped doing those things, including the Mighty Maca, including the Four Sigmatic mushroom coffee, including the Element. Those are all, special little mixes and things like that. Even the chicken collagen, I took a little break from that, and then I quickly saw, nope, I'm keeping that one for my arthritis. I don't use the chicken collagen to meet a protein goal. It's not a complete protein. I use it about 4 or 5 times a week just for my joints, okay? Because I have RA, and that's what I use it for. Another thing that I had added in and stopped was creatine. And I don't know if y'all have heard about creatine, but creatine is really well known to help with muscle building, muscle repair, muscle recovery, which I'm like, well, that's great and all that stuff. But the big thing that caught my attention with creatine is that they're coming out as we get more and more doctors and scientists looking into longevity and aging well and what we can do to help that. Creatine has shown itself to be a supplemental powder that is really great for brain health, memory, cognition. Now that caught my attention. And it's also, I think, one of the most studied and tested of all the supplements like that. So I had been using it for a while, and I was like, I don't know. And it was when I stopped for a season. So then here I am, and I've brought back in a few things, and I'm like, okay, yes. And I wanted to share with you what I personally brought back in. And at this point, I mean, I feel amazing. I've lost some weight. My clothes fit. I don't wear, like I said last week, I'm not having to rely on shapewear just so my clothes will fit, because that's what was happening. It wasn't so much a vanity thing. I mean, there's a little bit of that. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I'm a health coach. I need to look healthy. I think I want to look healthy. That wasn't the whole purpose. The reason I kept wearing that shapewear every time I turned around was so that I could button my pants. It was so that my clothes fit. Okay? I did not want to have to buy new clothes. That's kind of where I drew the line. And yes, now it's like some of my clothes are a little too big. I'm not mad. So I'm feeling great. I'm having great success that way. And all those things. So some things that I've brought back in that I am using, and now that I've pared it down, I can tell better if they're helping or if they're going to help. And that's what I would recommend to you. Take a break. Like I'm talking like 2 or 3 months, take a break. Rely on whole foods and see what happens. You're never going to know until you see what happens. And then assess what you want to bring back in. You don't have to bring it all. Bring in a few things, maybe just a few things at a time that you really want to work. Some things that you really want to use and incorporate for whatever reason, and then see how it helps you or not. See how you like it or not. Again, with the protein powder, I don't need a protein shake. Nobody really needs them, but I don't need it like I used to. I don't use it like I used to, but having one occasionally when I'm in a pinch could be a nice thing. But honestly, it didn't taste good. I was like, oh man. It's kind of like when you go back to some fast food place and some junky fast food place and you realize that the fries don't taste nearly as good as the memory. It was kind of like that, to be honest with you. I was like, oh man. But some things I've brought back in. I still use my chicken bone broth collagen a few times a week. Not every day. I don't use it every day, but I do use it a few times a week for now. Creatine. I brought that back in probably a month and a half ago, and the neurons are firing. Let me just tell you, the neurons are firing. 5 milligrams, which is usually a scoop if it comes with a scoop, 5 milligrams. And the brand that my mod mamas have talked a lot about is naked creatine. You can get it on Amazon, okay? I'm using one by Dr. Mary Claire Haver, but that I'm just using it up. I stored it in the freezer because, like I said, I was taking a long break. I had bought it on sale, and it's great. The thing about creatine, zero taste. You can put it in a glass of water. Praise the Lord. Zero taste. It's undetectable. You could put it in your coffee. You could put it in your tea. It has zero taste. It's kind of mind blowing. So I'm doing that. I have used Element a little bit over the past month or so again, but I can take it or leave it. I mean, I have it here, so I'm probably going to use it up, but I may just switch to a Beam. Yes, Sophie, that's a good question. I may just switch to just a mineral that you can squirt in your water, like Beam, B-E-A-M. And Sophie, let me tell you, Sophie asked, when do I take the creatine? Here's what's helped. Yes, I couldn't get a good habit either. And I think it was Mama Shelley shared with us that this is where we could get into, oh, well, you should always take it before your workout. Oh, no, you should always take it after your workout. You've got to drink it here. No, you got to drink. Malarkey. The main thing on the creatine is that you take it regularly, right? Take it regularly. And I was thinking before, I'm like, well, if I only lift weights 2 or 3 times a week, that's only getting the creatine in 2 or 3 times a week. How's that helpful? It's not that much helpful. It's more helpful to just do it daily, or at least, almost daily, and just whenever it makes sense and you can form that habit. So for me, I've been drinking it at right before supper. Like when I'm cooking supper or getting supper ready, I put my apple cider vinegar in my glass with my scoop of creatine and my little bit of stevia. And I drink that before supper. And that finally has gotten me consistent with it. And that's the main thing, is to be consistent with doing it, because it's going to have a compounding effect. It's not just I took it right after my workout and I'm good for 3 days. That's not how it works. I think so. I think it's just 5 milligrams is what's recommended. I have seen, I'm going to say this, I've seen the recommendation of 10 here or there, but not by very many people. So I think 5 milligrams, that's usually the scoop that you need. And you can, like anything, I would start slow and work up. So just in case. So that's what I've added back in. Element, I mean, I don't know. I'm using them sometimes after I have a workout, but I'm butting it up against supper and using it with my apple cider vinegar on those days. I do think making sure you have your minerals, like your potassium and your magnesium and your salt, are very important for sure, especially if you're working out hard or sweating or whatever. Other things I brought back in. I have a whole case of 4 Sigmatic mushroom coffee because I do like it. I like it a lot. It's delicious. I love it. And so I did bring that back in, but I'm not looking at it like, oh, I should have one of these a day because these mushrooms are going to have this magical effect and then I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Nope. Not going to happen. So I'm just using up what I have because I do enjoy it. I have it on occasion to close out a meal, and I just enjoy it. I can't tell it did anything. Now, maybe it did, but I can't tell that it really did anything at all. I think that's it. I'm keeping the list short, and I'm saving my money. And I'm putting the money I spent on all that other stuff towards better food, towards protein and better food. And that has been such a joy to be able to have a little bit more money in the grocery budget for groceries that my family can actually enjoy as well. And that's actually helping me get to my goals of slimming down and having my clothes fit. I do too, Shelly. And Sophie, I love the Think one. I just can't tell that it's doing anything. but I do like the 4 Sigmatic coffee. So that's been mine. I haven't added back in the Mighty Maca. it might be great. And that actually, I still have a whole jar unopened of the Mighty Maca drink mix. And that is something where down the road, I think I would like to bring it back in and see if it helps something. But not right now. Not right now, because I just added these other things back in. I just added creatine back in like a month and a half or so ago. I just added the Four Sigmatic coffee back in. And I want to give that time to see, does it actually do anything or not? I think that's important. I think that's really important. Now, as far as the thing with the protein shakes, I do talk about that in the food piece course, and I wanted that to work. I did. I really wanted that to work for me. And I think that for certain seasons and reasons, it could be a helpful thing to have a protein shake, depending on who you are and how you're using it, for sure. But one thing that I have learned in really digging into hunger and satiety hormones, into digging into GLP-1 hormone, into digging into leptin and ghrelin, into digging into insulin and cortisol, and all those things that we're going to talk about in the workshop, the act of chewing your food, that is how the good Lord created us to eat. And it works best. It truly works best to support our hunger and satiety hormones, including GLP-1, when we chew our food and we're not just throwing special ingredients at it. And the beautiful thing is that if you stop to calculate how much money per serving you're spending on some of the special ingredients, or like even the Mighty Maca drink mix or whatever it is, I'm not picking on any particular product or company at all, but if you stop to calculate how much money you're spending per serving, you realize, I could have eaten a chicken thigh. I could have had some leftover chicken and been satisfied and supported my hormones so much better by the act of chewing and having this actual food come into my body and give me the calories I need and the energy I need to go about my day. It's super important. The other thing, I know there's been a lot of talk over the past, year and a half to 2 years about proteins and essential amino acids and all that kind of stuff. And that's right. I mean, protein, those amino acids are the building blocks for our muscles. Absolutely. Absolutely. They are. But your body is expecting it to come in whole food form. That's how your body, that's what your body needs. That's what your body wants. And that's going to help and support you. That you don't have to supplement with all these extras in order to build muscle and repair muscle. Focusing on chewable, dense protein will do the trick, and it will support your hunger and satiety hormones and help you get control of your food and your cravings in a way that special powders and ingredients will never do. And I can tell you that because I was using all sorts of things regularly up until a year ago. And once I started focusing on the things that actually satisfied my body and honored my hormones, my hunger and satiety hormones, that's when everything changed. And that's when I actually started losing weight instead of gaining weight. And that's when I actually had more energy sustained over the day. And that's when I actually had my brain fog lift. It's amazing. Okay. Now, I'm telling you all of that because I want to share with you just what I've done. I'm not telling you not to, I'm not saying don't have a protein shake. I make one for my husband 4 times a week. Okay. I'm not saying that because it works for him and he likes it and he's happy with it. And that's just, if I didn't make my husband a protein shake, he would not eat breakfast at all. Okay. And some days he does do that. He doesn't eat breakfast and whatever. So I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm telling you that if you're not where you want to be in your health journey, if you're not where you want to be in your weight loss, if you aren't where you want to be with your hormones of any sort, different kinds, if you're not where you want to be, but you're like, something's got to give, something's got to change, I can't keep going this way. if you're like me and you're like, well, I am doing all the things. I am buying all the things. I'm eating and drinking all the things. And I still am gaining a little weight every year. And I'm not real happy with how I feel. If that's you, then this is one thing that you could very easily try, which is take a break from the special ingredients. Just take a break. Put them in, this is what I did. I put them in the freezer. So if you're wondering what to do with them, put them in the freezer, and that way they'll stay put out of your kitchen, not in your way, but also, keep them from going bad. I put them in my freezer. Take a break. Put them in your freezer. Focus on whole foods that you can buy at your local grocery store, okay? And see what happens. Just see what happens. I would highly suggest that if you do that, get my protein guide because you're going to want to know how to build a meal that's going to sustain you for sure. That's so important. You're going to want to build good meals, especially the first meal of the day for sure. And I know some of you may be thinking, well, but I can only go three hours and then I'm starving. Please come to the workshop that we're going to be doing on April 7th. If you're one of those mamas and you're like, there's no way I could give up snacks, and I use all these powders and potions and special ingredients to make this snack to help me get to my next meal. If that's you, please come to the workshop. Truly. I really want to share with you more about this so that you have the information you need so you can make the choices you need to make. I will tell you, if you can't go more than 3, even 4 hours without getting hangry, this workshop is exactly for you. And that was me too. So I totally get it. This was me a little over a year ago. I totally understand that. And I can tell you it's not that hard to heal past that and get control of your food instead of the food and the food thoughts and the hunger and satiety hormones controlling you. It's not that hard, but it does take some changes for sure. And again, just to wrap this up, if you decide to take a break from the special ingredients for 2 or 3 months and you store them in the freezer, definitely after about 3 months, start bringing them back in, maybe one at a time, and see how it helps you. And it might. I'm not saying it won't. It might help you with your goal. It might help you in all different sorts of ways, and you might be able to tell, or that particular special ingredient might not help you, or it might not be obvious, and that'll give you really great information to be able to tell, instead of just continuing to pile on special thing after special thing and not really knowing, is this actually helping me? Is this helping my hunger and satiety hormones to get online and work optimally or not? Or is it really just causing me to eat or drink something every 2, 3, and 4 hours throughout the whole day, and my insulin is getting released every time I turn around, which is going to lead to insulin resistance if it hasn't already, okay? So that's where I'm coming from on that. That's why in this group at this point, if you ask questions about EAAs or protein powder or any of those special ingredients, you're probably not going to get much of an answer. And it's not because I think you shouldn't use them. It's just that we're not using them. A lot of us aren't using them anymore. And so we're just focused on whole foods. We're focused on whole foods the way that they appear out in the world, more or less. And that has been a huge blessing to me in my journey over the past year of really focusing on that. And I've loved the extra dollars in my pocket that I can spend on something else or better food or whatever. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope that makes sense. I'm not putting this on you. And again, I brought some things back. And like I said, the mushroom coffee, I brought it back because I like it. I really can't tell it does a darn thing other than it's enjoyable. So I brought some things back, and I'm going to kind of take that slow. I don't really think I'll be bringing anything else in particularly because things are so good right now. The Mighty Maca would be the one that I'll probably try out again in the summer. Or later on, like in a couple of months. I may try that one, and that's it, and then we'll see. And then that way I'll know. I'll know if I'm spending my money wisely, if I'm using my time wisely or not. Okay, so I hope that was helpful and gave you some things to consider and think about in your own journey. And y'all go sign up for the workshop. It's everybody's budget, I promise. Okay, if you have questions about that workshop or anything, you can just post them here in the group. All right, ladies, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And it's almost lunchtime, right?